When games first released, they were marketed as a new form of entertainment. As the industry has evolved, however, we've slowly moved away from that original goal of entertaining the consumer and have now turned games into a job. Through our competitive nature, fear of missing out, sunk cost, and a variety of other techniques, companies are getting us to play games more while enjoying less. There's no better example of this than competitive gaming. When you hear the word competitive gaming, the first thing you probably think of is ranked in games, and I will get to that, but I first want to talk about speedrunning. Speedrunning is really exciting, and I think it's such an amazing part of gaming. Beating games quick is really cool, but the thing is, we went from how do I enjoy this art to all of a sudden it's how do I get through it as fast as possible. If we did that to a movie, watching it in 10 times speed, the point of the movie would be completely lost on the viewer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try and say that interactive media is the same as traditional media. We went from how do I build a house in Minecraft to how do I beat the Ender Dragon within my first 20 minutes of playing the game. I think speedrunning has somewhat spilled over into general casual play as well. If you're slow to finish something, in some ways you're shamed for it, especially when they're games that are traditionally seen as something you get done quick. The next layer of this is esports and tournaments. Having giant conventions of people playing a video game really adds pressure to how professional you need to be with that game. But not only that, the players at the top are what we see as the example of what a good player should be. And while it's called esports, there is little to no e-sportsmanship. I'm talking about toxic players, teams that are constantly having infighting, and really just nasty behavior all the way around. And this isn't necessarily normalized or recommended, but it's still something that happens. And I think this competitive nature has taken something that used to be, we do this for fun, and it makes it something that an ordinary person might feel like they have to put a little bit more time and effort into. And this goes into ranked and how we look at ranked play in video games. When I'm playing in a game such as Deadlock, which everything has a rank on it, I feel like I have to perform at a much higher level. And that's really tough because I already have a day job that I'm clocking into. I'm trying to do this to relax and de-stress. And so all of a sudden, we're putting values on my ability to do something that I'm using to relax. Ranked has a natural way of making your viewpoint of the game, I either did good or bad, not I enjoyed it or I didn't enjoy it. So all of a sudden, the metric is no longer about, do I want to play this game more? Is this relaxing for me? It's, oh, if I stop now, I look like trash because my rank is garbage. But if I keep grinding, maybe I can get to that higher rank. But here's the thing, even if you aren't competitive, game designers have tricks to keep you coming back every single day to play. Fear of missing out is a massive tactic that games companies use. And I think especially too, as of recently. Special events were always the thing for me that brought me back to TF2. I always had to be there every Halloween. I always had to be there during Christmas to get that backpack extender. Now as well, other games that I play, they'll have special things, whether or not they're necessarily trying. Like Terraria is, I think, a great example of this. I doubt that the Terraria devs were thinking having these special Christmas items is gonna make people want to play more, but it does. And same thing with Halloween costumes and things like that. I think it's definitely interesting how these special events, which are meant to be for the players, for their enjoyment, in a way actually take us further into this, I have to play this game now because this special thing is happening. That also doubles with limited time offers. I'm not big into microtransactions in games, so this isn't necessarily something that affects me quite as much, but there are things that I do think are interesting. Like in Deadlock, for instance, I have a snow globe in my, whatever it's called, the lobby that you're in, because I played during winter in the beta. This is a limited time thing that you could not get anymore. And so a lot of people are like, well, when the next event comes out, I'm going to have to be there for it, because if I'm not, I don't get that snow globe. So there's another example of them trying to hook you into the game. But the part that I think really takes the cake is battle passes. Now, I don't play Fortnite or things like that, which I think really did popularize it. But I have played Clash Royale, and oh my god, does Clash Royale have battle passes. Even as someone who doesn't put money into Clash Royale, I feel like I have to play Clash Royale constantly. I've uninstalled it at this point because I was playing it so much, because I wanted to grind the battle pass. Or for a while they had free evos out if you got so many crowns. They are literally coaxing you in. They're giving you a paycheck, more or less. It's like, oh, you play so much, you're gonna get these things. And that's really how they turn it into a job. They turn it into something that you have to clock into every single day, otherwise you're not gonna get your rewards. And that's the same thing with those like daily login bonuses. It's the same thing, because they know if they get you in the game once, you're going to see that battle pass, you're going to see those offers or a special event or something going on, and then you're going to be like, crap, I have to do this now, because otherwise you're going to miss out on it. It's not just about what we miss out on. It's also just as much what we've already spent on the game as well. I'm talking about like sunk cost here. Microtransactions are really huge. Gear Up is an example. I bought like all the parts, and now I can't even play the game because I don't think it has servers anymore. Right after I paid this like $10, which was a lot for me to pay at the time because I was, a teenager. I remember my friends were like, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm like, I just got all these parts. I have to play this game. Like, we have to play this game. And so really, I not only forced myself to continue playing, but I forced my friends to play as well. Battle passes are another thing. Again, battle passes, it's like, oh, I've already put this much into the battle pass, I might as well get the battle pass finished off or complete going. It's the same thing with like leveling or progression or achievements. It's like, oh, I have this level whatever character, I shouldn't just like leave them in the dust. Or it's like, oh, I'm so close to this one, achievement or something like that. If I just keep going a little bit longer. And I'm really bad at this too, but achievements especially, like I like the concept of 100%ing games. And I've 100%ed multiple games in my time. But then there's games where I'm like, what's the point? Like, so Atomicrops, which is a game I really like. There's one achievement where you have to kill all these different elite enemies in one day without taking damage, which is a ridiculously hard thing because getting elite enemies is tough in that game. You have to be like really high up in the Ascension. And I was trying for it for so long. I remember like months I would play Atomicrops, and that would be, I would grind out to do that. And I just at a point I was like, why am I doing this? I am no longer enjoying this game that I really like because I'm trying to grind this achievement. And I think that's really, that's how they get you is, I'm going to play this competitively. Okay, at least when you play competitive games, you realize at a point like, oh, maybe this is too toxic for me. But then the casual games, they've got all these achievements to just keep you playing because you're like, oh, I'm so close to that 100%. And I think really that's the double-edged sword of gaming right now is no matter what you're playing, no matter what type of game it is, some way or another they are going to find a way to turn it into a job because they want you to play that game as much as possible. I think even worse than this, ranked matches, FOMO, the cost we're putting into the games, all of that wasn't enough. We're also legitimately turning gaming into jobs. And I'm talking about monetization, streaming and YouTube, and really making content in general, which is something that I legitimately struggled with. I've done both streaming and I've done YouTube, and it's really taken my enjoyment out of games, which I'm making a video right now. But you may have noticed a large gap in some of my uploads, and that's because I'm really trying to change how I make videos. So if you're this far in, you're enjoying it, I'm changing up my style. So hit that like button or like tell me how it feels. This one's a bit more of a ramble and a bit more of like an open letter, but definitely check out my stuff lately and tell me what you think, because I'm trying to mix it up a little bit for my own being and enjoyment of games. I've done both streaming and YouTube. When I was streaming, I would stream once, if not twice a week for about 4 hours. And one of the first games I ended up playing that I'd never played before was Skyrim.
Huh? Oh my God!
And that was because a lot of my friends and people like that who were watching at the time, they all liked Skyrim, and I was someone who had never played it. I had never played Skyrim. And I feel like I missed out on the Skyrim experience because I played it while streaming. I did not enjoy the game. I did all the stuff. I beat the main part of the game, and I was kind of like, man, this sucks. I feel like I'm really underleveled. This shit feels really hard. I just did not like it. And it's because I wasn't playing for me. I was playing for this audience. But then YouTube, on the other end of the spectrum, I really like TF2. I really like Deadlock. I really like all these different games. But the problem is when you're sitting there writing a script, redoing a script, editing, watching the same clips over and over again, you really start to feel numb to the things you're watching. And so I think in a way, I kind of made gaming gray for me because I was clocking in, I was doing this. And especially too, this year I had the grand plan of making 12 videos, which doesn't sound that hard, but the way I make videos is not efficient nor easy. I have 24 hours in the day. 8 of those are for sleep, other like 16 hours. 8 of those are work. And then out of that remaining 8, a large chunk of it was going to YouTube. That meant when I would play video games, it would be for YouTube, which then just meant that I was using those dwindling free time hours to clock into something. And so it just made gaming feel less fun. And so that's one of the things. I think that's not necessarily something that game companies do, but I think that's something that capitalism at large does, because you see this hobby, you see something you're interested in, something you have a passion for, something you're good at, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to monetize this. I still love games. I think most everyone does, but I can't help but feel that my enjoyment of games has become a grind that closer resembles my 9 to 5 as time has went on. And there's definitely games that take me out of this thought process. I really think like Balatro was a game that I really started to enjoy again, and I didn't just feel like I was like in a slog, grinding through it. I really had a fun time kind of playing Balatro. The Peak was another good one from this year that I really did enjoy. My wife and I played that together, so it made it really fun. Gaming's just changed, and I wanted to talk about it because I feel like I'm not the only one recognizing that that's happening. If you enjoyed me talking about this, you might like a video I had about Team Fortress 2's content cliff, or this video that YouTube thinks you'll like. Bye for now.